Okay, my friend. Hi, good morning. I just came back from running with my girlfriend. Beautiful weather. You can see we have a bit mountain view here. Hearing lots of birds chirping. Amazing vibe. And let me just read some books. Insanely Simple again. It's the only book I brought with me on this trip. Let me think. Keeping hierarchy at bay. I'd like to say that when you work in an organization that believes in simplicity, life is easier. You work fewer hours and you return to your loved ones each night perfectly stress free, but I won't. The truth is, measured by sheer hours of hard work, there's probably zero difference between working with Apple and working with a company like IBM. Work is hard. That's why they call it work. Simplicity can be many things, but it's not your ticket to a life of leisure. However, measured by the frame of mind in which you do your work and the frame of mind in which you live your work, the difference is night and day. In the world of Apple, most people at least wake up each day with a good sense of what needs to be done and why. In more complicated environments, it can be a challenge to decode different points of view and negotiate a labyrinth of approvals that can span weeks or months. Hierarchies are not only mentally exhausting for those who have to deal with them, but they tend to whittle away the quality of the work as is shuttled from meeting to meeting. My experience with Apple was that the organization was refreshingly flat, especially compared with other large technology companies. At the highest level, dealing with Steve, it was extremely flat, as in, does Steve like it or not? But even on projects at a lower level, the hierarchy had a welcome sanity to it. One basically dealt with the same people week to week, and if there was a VP or other executive involved, he or she would appear at regular checkpoints. If we had new ideas to share at one of our regular meetings with Steve, we'd get instant reactions and our next steps would be clear. If there were changes to be made, we'd normally understand the reason why. No matter what night, no matter what might change between our Steve meetings, market conditions, current events, or Steve's own evolving opinions, we were living within a process that was easy to follow. It was an ongoing dialogue with a small group of smart people, and it's not like Steve was a stranger between meetings. He was a full functioning member of our little band who would call or email whenever he had something to say. In other words, he has a rare CEO. He was a rare CEO. Okay, that sounds very inspiring. I'd love to be in a CEO like that. I want to have a flat relationship with my coworkers, with the closest people I work with, at least the management levels one day. But how big of a company I would build in the future, that I don't know. Would we need to build a large company like with hundreds of thousands or 10,000 people? Probably not, especially AI already advanced, and in the near future we would not probably need like so many human resources to do small tasks. Instead we just need one person managing all kinds of AI agents, yeah, or AI agent of a general AI agent managing multiple AI specialists handling different tasks. That would be like a different world to live in. We would not have large company. I mean, in the sense that with lots of employees, a huge number of employees probably would be rare because it would cost so much money. Yeah, anyway, let me continue reading a bit more. Working with Intel, the agency followed the traditional routine of presentation and discussion, followed by revision. What made it so different from working with Apple was that getting through one meeting normally only meant that you were cleared to present to a higher up in another meeting. And that person wouldn't necessarily have been privy to the discussions that had gone on at the first meeting. Messy. In these types of organizations, the lower level people tend to demand a greater quantity of work just to be sure that somewhere in that giant pile of ideas their bosses will see something they like, and that will reflect well upon them. They are less willing to support positions that don't align perfectly with their marching orders, even if they represent a smarter path. In multi-layered organizations, it's difficult to stand up for imaginative thinking because it puts your neck on the line. In Apple's flatter organization, it's easier to think different. Amazing, amazing. It's been only 5 minutes, and it's not a lot, but let me just read it independently without recording it, I guess. Thank you for watching and listening and reading with me. Hope you have a great day. 停止录像。